about the myths around debt. This is a very sensitive topic because we have people walking around here not knowing anything about their debt situations,
telling you all
believing
kinds
the
of
wrong
lies
things about debt. Today we're about to bust the myths.
Slash it, break it, destroy it. And some of these things are things that we believed as well for the longest time.
Well,
and you just know this. I feel like everyone just knows that one person that just seems to have a theory about everything in life, and they just always want to go against the grain and say, oh no, you shouldn't do this. If you do it this way, it will work better. No. They always have some conspiracy theory to throw out there, and you're just like, how does this work? I mean, there are some people that would do certain things and it will work for them, but majority of the time these things don't work. It doesn't work for the masses, as you would say. So if you find yourself trying to justify something because a lot of people are saying, oh, I do this and it works for me, just be careful. Don't do something because everyone else is doing it. Do it because it's something that is going to lead to our number one goal is financial independence. And we want to have that peace that comes with knowing that your finances are taken care of.
And that leads me to my number one point is the biggest myth is everybody has debt. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, it's like, and this was something that we were kind of initiated into when we moved to Canada, because in the cultures we grew up in, people didn't borrow you money. Like, everyone was just trying to live life. Like,
and the people who had debt were frowned upon. It was just like, oh, you have debt. Like, you owe
and even if you wanted
something.
to borrow money, like, the people that had money didn't borrow money, and the people that didn't have money and wanted to borrow money didn't have assets that they could put down as collateral, stuff like that, to borrow money. So it was
people who borrowed were people who were very poor, and they would be like, okay, I'll borrow, like, at that shop, where you write your name down on the list, and then you're like, okay, I'll pay you at the end of the month.
That market woman that knows you, you always go to her. So, and she knows where you live, by the way.
So and that was frowned upon because you're poor. So now you're begging the shopkeeper for a credit on groceries or on a bar of soap.
Yeah.
So that was the kind of debt that we had back home, where some people who borrowed, it was detrimental for them just because, like, that was their livelihood. That's the only thing that they could afford. Like, they can only afford to make ends meet.
Yeah.
And it was hard, for them. So that was the situation they were in. They were in such a tough bind that they had to borrow.
Yeah. We didn't even borrow to build houses. Like, we don't have mortgages.
Mortgages are a new
things
concept.
Now are like gearing to introduce a lot more debt into, like, most of the African countries, but like, as at the time when I left, like, it wasn't even something that anyone was talking about.
Only my friends now who are in the corporate world have debt only because they can borrow money to get a car, or they can borrow money to build their house. And it's a very recent concept. It wasn't there before.
So saying that everyone, what was it again? Everyone has debt.
Everyone has debt. That's the myth that, oh, everybody's doing it, so might as well do it too.
Yeah. The truth is, not everyone is doing it. And
everyone is dumb, so don't be dumb.
And just because everyone is doing it doesn't mean that you should be in that position too, because guess what? Everyone that you know is broke and poor. Just because they live in nice houses and drive nice cars doesn't mean they're rich. They're broke. If they're putting those things on payment plans, they're broke as hell. So what kind of lifestyle do you want to live at the end of the day? Do you want to keep living like how everyone else lives? Or do you want to make a difference and say, okay, I'm not going to live this way anymore? Like, I know everyone around me is getting car payments and getting mortgages and putting their phones on payment plans and all that stuff, but I'm not going to get something if I cannot afford it, and I'm going to wait, I'm going to save, and I'm going to wait till the proper time before I get that thing. So it's all about you deciding how you want your life to go. Just because everyone else is, I don't know, there's so many trends these days. Just because everyone else is doing something doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do it. And it doesn't mean that it's a successful thing to do or it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Another one is similar to that is you will always have a payment. So, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why people justify getting car loans and student loans and like putting your phone on a payment plan, putting your appliances, your electronics at home. Some people put all kinds of things on payment plans and putting your meals on payment plan even. Like if you go out to a nice restaurant and have dinner and you pay with your credit card, you're putting that meal on a payment plan. So always saying that everyone is like you're always going to have a payment is not the right mindset. All it takes for you is to decide that you're going to make more than your minimum payment, and that debt is going to get cleared out.
Yeah.
But
and that goes along with my point about it's easy to make smaller payments. But it's not really easy to make smaller payments because at the end of the day, it's costing you more.
Oh, it's costing you so much more. Yeah. If you sit down and do the math, I actually did this math and I was trying to figure out how much I've paid in interest with this from the life of this card since I had it. I think my interest came up to about $3,840 in interest. And the reason why that number, like, because this year I've been paying more payments, is reduced a little bit. It would have gone up to maybe $5,000 if I was just doing my minimum payments. So it's just crazy for you to think that making your minimum payments, you justify it by saying because I don't have money. But look at what it's costing you over 4 years. It has cost me close to $4,000. So if I keep saying I don't have money, that $4,000, whatever thing I wanted to buy, I would have bought it a long time ago with that $4,000 if I had decided to save that money instead of paying the bank interest. So imagine like if it was a phone, for example, that I got my credit card because I wanted to buy a phone and I bought a phone for $1,000. If I had waited and saved that money, I would have ended up saving myself having to pay over $3,000 because I had a credit card, I went ahead and kept buying all kinds of things and
and if you had waited to save,
crazy.
The value the price of that phone would have gone down and you would have been able to get it for a cheaper price too, depending on like if you were following the trends. Then another one would have come out and then you would still be paying the same.
If you sit down and figure out how much your minimum payment, like from all your debts, how much your minimum payment is, and use that value and figure out how much percentage of your take home pay is, you'll be shocked at how much you're putting towards debt. And that money, if you were using it, if you were saving it or using it to invest, imagine what that amount of money would turn out to be like over the span of 10, 15 to 20 years. So just you have to decide that this is not the lifestyle I want to live. And if you feel like you're always going to have a payment, and that's the thing with all of this myth, is about your mindset. And a lot of people say these things to justify them going into debt or getting out whatever loans that they get. So if you always have that mindset, anything you see, you always want to get that thing because you're no longer looking at how much is it. You're looking at how much what's the minimum payment. And that is poor mindset. Like Dave Ramsey will always say, the rich will ask how much, and then the poor will say how much down and how much per month. So if you always say that, at the end of the day, you have so much minimum payments that you become overwhelmed. Another myth is that you need to be making 6 figures or serious bank to get out of debt. Nah.
That goes with the myth that I have that debt will be around forever.
A lot of people, I hear this a lot, especially from people that I know. They say, oh, because I'm not making enough money, I cannot get out of debt. That is so not true. Because at the end of the day, living your life is based on percentages. There are people that live on minimum wage, but they're still able to live on 60% of that income. They're still able to live on 50% of that income, even just so that they can use the remaining towards other things in their life for the future. And
there are people who make 6 figures who are in a terrible amount of debt.
Why do you think that all these athletes and musicians, like all these wealthy people in our definition of wealth, why do you think that they go bankrupt. They're not able to sustain that wealth because it's not about your income.
Yeah,
And we've
now
talked
that you're
about this
rich, now you need a
before.
Bugatti. Bugatti costs 10 times more than a Prius. Like
They all got private jets, and most of them, they don't buy it outright, so they're all paying payments towards that. So at the end of the day, it's not about your income. I know income is your
yeah,
greatest wealth building tool.
yeah.
And then again, like if you're making $1,000 take home per month, you don't need to be living in an $800 apartment. We've talked about this before. You have to make your lifestyle fit that income that you're getting, first of all. And if you want to live an affluent lifestyle and you're not making enough money, then you need to go get more money. It's just as simple as that. But you saying that the only reason why you're not able to make your payment or get along is because you're trying to live a lifestyle that is above the means that you're getting. So,
And sometimes, when we say live a lifestyle above your means, people think that, you have to be fancy to be living above your means. Sometimes you're just a normal person. But you're spending on things
lots of normal people.
Yeah.
These are like everyday people.
Yeah, we're not talking about bougie people because let's face it, some bougie people got the money that they're not in debt. We're talking about normal everyday people who spend more money on takeout. You eat pizza every day. That's gonna cause you to be in debt because you're swiping that credit card more times than you think. And those little $5, $10, like how much is a takeout meal? $20 every day, give or take. Those are the things that add up and make things not work for you. If you're a normal person, make your own pizza at home or like your meals so that you don't feel like, oh, I gotta swipe my credit card every time that I'm. So
it was like the thing that happened to me before when I was paying off my debt. Like, I realized that my housing cost was close to 50% of my take home pay. So I had to move. I moved into a basement that was costing me $400 or something. That was like 1/4 of what I was paying before.
Yeah.
So, and doing that enabled me now. So all that money that I was going to be putting towards rent, I was able to put it towards my debt and even save money for like have an emergency fund for when I was going to quit. Even now too, like I feel like it's almost the same percentage of my income. And when I was doing my analysis, I was like, okay, I want to be able to give at least 25% towards that. And I figured out that this house would have gone if I wasn't able to reach that goal. There's so many things that I would have taken out of my life or my budget if I wasn't able to meet that goal, because I knew that at the end of the day, like all these things don't matter. I'm always gonna find a nice apartment when I'm ready. So just decide that I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go through whatever I have to go through, the sacrifices that I have to make, because guess what? Nothing easy has come without sacrifice and intentionality. Wealth doesn't just fall on your lap.
Yeah.
I know there are people that like they get trust funds, they inherit their wealth, but it takes discipline to manage the wealth that you're given, because so many people can blow it up. They can blow out that money in a day or two, or gamble the money or do whatever. But whenever I see wealthy people that inherited their wealth and they're like, oh well, his father was rich, that's why he's been able to sustain their wealth. No.
If anything, it's credited to the parents' ability to teach them how to manage money.
Exactly. And so very few people inherit wealth. How many people do you know have inherited wealth? So few people. So the average regular person, the person that wins in life, is the person that decides that they're going to use whatever income they have to make a change for their future. Because what you're doing when you're borrowing money, you're actually borrowing from your future. Because you could not afford something, you put it on a credit card, you took a loan out for that thing. So now the money that you're getting every month that you should be saving or using towards saving for your future, now you're putting it on a credit card because you've already borrowed from that future. But you would never ever get along. Have you ever looked at your credit card statement when they tell you how many years it's gonna take you to pay off your?
And you're
like 344
I rebuke
years.
the devil.
344 years, and you're like, I'm not even gonna live that long.
344.
I was going through one of my statements. There was 1 month I saw 344 if I keep making the minimum payments. So that is how
344 months or years?
Years. So that is
the devil is a liar.
That is how far you're borrowing from your future if you decide that you're always gonna make all these payments, because all that money, once it comes, and then if you're in that situation where they're not garnishing your wages because you can't keep up, all the money that you're just getting is going towards debt payment. And what kind of life is that?
Yeah, that's not a life I want to live.
You know, what we're trying to say is it is false, and you have to get out of the grain. You have to come outside of the norm, because that's what normal people say, and those normal people are broke. So don't listen to them.
Yeah, and the other myth about debt will be around forever is only if you decide that debt will be around forever. If you decide to make a change right now and start paying more than your minimum balance, some of the things that we've already talked about, like reevaluate your debts, reevaluate where you can cut back, reevaluate where you can increase your income, then debt necessarily won't be able to be around forever.
Yeah. Another one is credit cards or line of credits are for emergencies.
What did you do in case of emergencies before you had a credit card?
That's a good one. You remember, like, a lot of people they had like a grandmom or their mom that always put money in some coffee tin. That is what they called it, the rainy day fund. In the olden days, that is what you do.
The cookie jar money.
You put money away for emergencies. You don't go to your line of credit. You don't go to your credit card. Those things, they're not for emergencies because you're borrowing money.
Yeah, it's not, yeah. Unless if you're faced with some emergency that is beyond the definition of emergency that we have now. You know what I mean? Like, if you get into a medical situation and you need a heart transplant stat.
No, but my point to that is, like, you going to get a credit card or a line of credit because you're saying I want to have money set aside for emergencies. I'm not saying like, oh, you're already in a situation, so now I need to find a way out.
Okay.
But you intentionally going to the credit card and signing up
thinking
for it,
that it will
saying
be for
I'm
an
going to use
emergency.
it for emergencies. It's no, don't do that.
No, don't do that.
Okay, another one is a good credit score is a sign that you're good with money. That is such a lie. A good credit score only indicates that you're good at making your minimum payments on time. That's all a good credit score tells you.
My point for that was there is good debt that will increase your credit score.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as good debt.
Don't confuse bad credit with no credit, because people that have no credit are actually people that are winning with their money, because they're not taking out loans. But because if you have bad credit, you're on the bottom of the pile. So you're the ones that never is drowning in debt. You're not able to make your payments. But if you have good credit, all that means is that you're really good at making your minimum payments. And I find it funny because if you pay off your balance as opposed to just making your minimum payment, your credit score will actually reduce. As opposed to when you're just making minimum payments, your credit score keeps increasing.
So, like, the other day, like in most banks now in Canada, you can check your credit score.
Yeah.
I went to check mine and mine had reduced more recently, and I was like, oh, okay. How did it reduce? Because I was getting
that you closed.
Yeah, so when I had closed the cards, my credit card went down like way low, and then I started making minimum payments on my new loan, and then it started going up. It was going up steady, and I was like, oh, I'm doing good. And then this past month, I went to check how is it doing, and I went 10 points down.
Wow.
And I was like, what? How did that happen? Nothing has changed in my life, right? And then there's like a credit score simulator at the bottom. And then I plugged in $1,000 to see, like, if I had $1,000 credit card, what would happen? It increased like 50 points. If I had 1,000, so maybe it was the last $1,000 that I paid off, kind of put me down because I have $1,000 less than the threshold of debt that I was supposed to have. So like,
so they have like a credit card threshold that if you have a balance of a certain amount, to them they say this person is able to manage debt. Yeah. Well, and it's
so I guess I'm on that tipping point where things are just gonna keep going either down or maybe they'll increase again. I don't know.
It's so funny because the one that we see, the FICO one that we see through the TransUnion and Equifax, it's not actually the ones that the banks look at when they try to give you credit. Because when I was trying to get my consolidated loan, like the guy, like he was showing me his screen, so he was showing me what he was doing because I wanted to see, like, when he asked for my authorization to do my credit thing. He went to a different screen. He did the thing. The score was actually a two-digit score. So it's a score over 100. So they give you like, it's more like a percentage to say, okay, this person is good or this person is bad. And it's so funny because I was expecting to see the 3 because I wanted to say, oh, maybe I wanted to see, what exactly my credit score was, but it was not even anything close to what we look at. Forget about your credit score. And if you think that you're doing well because you have a good credit score, nah. You can have like 100,000 debt. As long as you make your minimum payments, your credit score will be good. As long as you don't default on any of those payments and you keep a low utilization, maybe you're doing 70,000 out of the 100,000, you'll be good. You'll be all right.
But you'll be 70,000 in debt.
But yeah. Another one, and I'm going to let you talk a little bit about this one, is that used cars cost more in repairs than a car payment. So my car payment is $385 per month. What is your car repairs per month? And how old is your car?
My car is a whopping 11 years old.
How much do you pay per month for car repairs?
My car repairs come in like every 3 months.
Okay.
And I save $60 a month to go towards repairs. And the most it's cost me, based on only repairs, I have spent a total of, so far, I think $1,500.
Okay, so $1,500 for 12 months on an 11-year-old car. My car is 4 years now. I bought it brand new in 2015, and I'm paying $3,080. Is this not more than, you bought your car less than this price, right? Well, how much did you buy your car?
I bought my car about $5,000.
Okay, $5,000.
Well, almost $6,000.
So it's not even, it's less than.
But I bought my car in 2014 for $6,000 cash.
Yeah. So imagine, a lot of people say this, that, oh, I don't want to get a used car. I don't want to get an old car because it's going to cost me more. She's still driving that car. She's driven this car to the ends of the world. She's driven this car across Atlantic provinces.
Across Canada.
She has driven this car everywhere. Like every province you can, not every province, but like from the West Coast to the East Coast to the North back to the Central. That car has been around.
Yeah.
and it's still going.
And it's still under 100K. It's
still going
It's
perfectly.
under 100K. It's still going perfectly. My repairs are not, I mean, like, once you're faced with a repair of like, oh my God, I gotta pay $600, you're like, why am I paying $600? But in the grand scheme of things, that's exactly that's why I started saving $60 every month.
Yeah.
Because I was like, imagine if I was making car payments. I would be putting away some money anyways towards that payment. I'll put away half of what a normal person pays for minimum for their car for payments because I don't have payments and I've already bought my car outright. Yeah. Just because I need to do the repairs. And it's so less painful to do it that way. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you're spending money that you've already saved. And compared to what other people are paying on monthly payments, I'm still paying half less than.
Yeah. So that myth is such a lie. And guess what? My car was only new for maybe 4 months. After 4 months, guess what it is?
It's a used car.
Like my car, fine. I haven't had issues with it. The first year I had about 3 factory issues. Like I had an issue with my brakes. I had an issue where I was actually driving and my wheels, like I tried to make a turn and then the thing just fell off. So that was like a factory defect. Yeah, the first year that I got my car. And then I think 2 separate issues with my brakes. So after they resolved that, since then, and I didn't have to pay because it was still under warranty. But since then, and that's a good thing about buying a used car because the first owner actually removes all the kinks from the car. Yeah, so since then, I haven't had any major issues apart from my battery dying and having to change that. But my car is a 4 years used car at this point, if I wanted to sell it. But I still don't have issues. So if you buy a car that is 3 year used or 4 year used, you're not gonna have. But when I bought my car, repairs because
it was under 5 years at that time, 2014. It was, I think, driven by an old lady because the kilometers were like under 50K. Yeah. It had no rust. It had winter tires on. So like you have to be careful when you're buying a used car. Don't just go and get any used car. Like do some research. And it depends on you. Like some people say, oh, dealers are bad to buy cars from, like used cars from. I bought mine at a dealer and it was perfect. Like that was the best way for me to buy it for me because they did inspection on it. They did everything compared to buying it from someone who could be lying. Like Where are you going to find that person after you bought it from Kijiji from them? You know? You got to be careful when you're buying a used car, but like chances are it's going to be better, you know, than buying a brand new car.
That is true.
Yeah.
So there's absolutely nothing wrong in buying a 4-year used, a 5-year used, 6-year used, whatever it is. You're coming out a lot better. That my car, I was gonna look to selling it that first year during that my whole trying to get out of debt, and I was gonna. It was selling for about 20,000, so it lost over $12,000 in value interest a year. And that's why I couldn't sell it, because I was like, I still owe like 30 grand on this thing, and I can't sell it for 20. Like I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna write this thing out.
And you would still have to like
I'll still have to pay the difference
grand,
to the bank or whatever. So that's just and
like I feel like 30 grand at the end of the day compared to 6 grand. It's so much better to pay 6 grand.
Unless you're using a really unreliable, and that's the thing, you have to get a reliable car. Unless you're getting a really unreliable car where like the engine is just shattered and all that stuff.
Yeah, when your car has engine problems,
it's not gonna
don't do it. Like
your car is not gonna cost you that in repairs. It's not gonna cost you the
my repairs are cosmetic repairs. They're like, oh, something's rusted, you have to replace it. Like things that are because of old age. Yeah. Is the repairs that I have to do.
Needs a makeover.
Yeah.
A little touch up here and there. Okay, another myth is you need a credit score to get a good job. I've been seeing this a lot on I live in the comment section of all these like Dave Ramsey and people like that, and people just say all kinds of stupid stuff. I don't know if this works in some countries, but where the country that we are in, nobody is gonna run.
Nobody has the right to run your credit.
Maybe if you're doing a job that involves like finances or credit or something like that, they're gonna run your credit. Yeah. But saying that you need to get a credit card so that I have a good credit, so that when I go to get a job, I can get a job, is false. Yeah. Unless you have something to be worried about. It's just like if you have a criminal record, so you're afraid to go get a job because they're going to run a criminal check on you and you have something to hide. Unless you have something to hide, you should not be worried if you have no credit.
But my landlord asked for my credit score, or asked to access my credit score before I got my apartment, which makes sense because they want to know if you can pay. I don't know. There's an Ontario credit whatever for landlords, and I don't know what kind of credit score that is.
For me, they have not asked for my credit report because I refused. So you can refuse to not give them. But what I did was I gave them my past landlords, because at the end of the day, like I said, me as a landlord, I would not want to run somebody's credit score, because you could have all kinds of credit in the bank and be making your minimum payment does not mean you're going to be able to pay your rent. Because at the end of the day, most of those minimum payments are not even a fraction of what you pay in rent. So you as a landlord trying to run people's credit score, if the person's credit score is really, really bad, okay, obviously this person is not good with money. Yeah. But you want to know how that person has done over the past 3 years with their previous landlords. Well, all the places I've rented asked for is my references, and they always ask that one of them be my previous landlord. You guys call this person like, hey, this person lived in your house, so how was she with rent? They're like, oh, she paid in time, she missed one time. That's it. She's okay. That's a true credit check that you need to be doing, because you could run someone's credit report and it would just give you a vague score. What do you do with that score? Yeah, this person pays more. You don't know if that person is owing $200,000 in the bank and they just keep making their payments. And then one day they call you up and say, hey, I have too much debt, I can't pay rent. What are you going to do? You can't kick them out. You have to go to court and to get an eviction notice and all that stress. So if you don't have credit and you're trying to get an apartment and they're telling you that because you don't have a credit score, I can't give you this place, you can put a deposit down. Say, I'm going to give you the first and last month. And most people will ask you for that anyways, to guarantee that you don't, if they want to kick you out, at least they have a month's rent. So that is what most people do, as opposed to, because most people have started to realize that credit score is not a good, it's not a good way to gauge if someone's going to pay rent. So most people just ask for first and last month deposit. And if your landlord is insisting, you can just say, hey, I'm going to pay my first and last month because I don't have credit. So I don't think any landlord is going to oppose unless you're with like a major like
It's the same as like
a rental, like a company that is like apartments are managed by a rental company or something like that. They want to be more formal. I have lived in 8 different places and I have not had any issues. Okay, another one is that you can go bankrupt. If I have too much debt, I'll just file bankruptcy and that's it. The thing is, not all debt is bankruptable. I know maybe in Canada, I think you can bankrupt your student loans, but in the States, student loans are not bankruptable. So if you owe $300,000 and $200,000 of that is student loans, you still have to pay for it. And another thing about bankruptcy is that if you have secured loans, you have to give up that asset. So if you're going bankrupt because you cannot afford your house, you're going to go into foreclosure. They're going to take your house. They're going to take your car. They're going to take everything that you owe on that thing. Bankruptcy is not free. You have to pay for it. And sometimes you have to pay up to $20,000 to file bankruptcy. Because it's more like a settlement, right? Because and then the people that you owe money actually have to agree that they've agreed for you to go bankrupt. They've agreed to forgive that payment. Basically, that's what they're doing. They're forgiving your payment. So they have to be in agreement. You have to hire a lawyer that you're paying. So bankruptcy is not. It's not easy.
not cheap.
It's not cheap. Don't go into debt thinking that I'm just gonna rack up all this debt and eventually file bankruptcy, because you're gonna have a huge wake up call. If your income is to a certain level, you can't even file bankruptcy because it's just gonna garnish your wages to forever till you die. Don't go into that thinking that you can bankrupt it later, because it's just gonna cost you more emotionally and mentally. It's as stressful as like going through a divorce and things like that. It's one of the major life,
it changes your life forever.
altering events that can happen in someone's life. So don't just go into things lightly. Debt is a very, very dangerous weapon that if some people use it to their advantage and they get out somehow, they win with it, but not everyone does. So don't do things because Joe in your office did that so you think it's gonna work for you. Nah, it's not gonna work.
Another point that is linked to that is my debt will be forgiven. I think mostly in the States where people are thinking that, after a certain amount of, after 10 years, your debt can be eligible for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Only Jesus Christ did that on the cross for your sins. All other debts shall be repayable.
Oh my goodness. I'm dead.
All other debt you will have to pay, because ain't nobody trying to forgive you for, I don't know, like, and there's so many rules that you have to follow for your debt to be forgiven. Like, at least I know in the States where you have to have worked for a nonprofit organization. It means that you're not getting paid.
And then
like,
not everyone
your potential
qualifies. Like there was this statistics that said that I think it was 30,000 people applied and only 94. I might not be getting the exact numbers, but
small
it was
percentage of people
it was less than 1% of people that got it. So you ignoring your loans for 10 years thinking that, and the funny thing is that, especially with government, so many things changes. Like somewhere like Canada now, we have two very, very, very opposite government. Is either the liberal or the conservative? And if the liberal is in power, there's certain things that will favor certain people. And then if the opposite, you don't know what's going to happen in 10 years.
Yeah.
Another party is going to come over and they're just gonna slash
change
everything,
all of the rules,
change all the laws, and imagine you being.
I remember
being
that
6
being
months
crazy for immigration.
Like,
oh my god!
Since I've come to Canada, immigration laws have
Has
changed like 7
so
times. Like it's changed so much that you can't even keep up. And sometimes it changes in your favor. Sometimes it changes against you.
Yeah.
So imagine
there was a time that there was a period of 3 years that I was just in limbo because I couldn't apply for this and I couldn't apply for that because I was from the old system, and then you couldn't apply for this, and then by the time 3 years are gone and then I was in the right system, my sister came and in 1 year she got the same benefits that I did when I was waiting for 3 years. Like you just never know. Imagine
you waiting for 10 years of your life saying, okay, I'm going to ignore this debt. Meanwhile, you're accruing interest on it. By the way, as at 10 years, your interest is already the same amount of the loan that you
so now
took
it's
out
like
in
that
the
loan
initial
times
time.
2.
So imagine you're waiting 10 years and then you're 3 months to the finish line to be eligible to apply for the student loan forgiveness. And then the government comes and tells you, hey, you know what? Remember that thing that Obama said years ago? We're not doing that anymore. Oh, remember that thing that Trump said the other time? We're not doing that anymore. We're canceling that. And then there you are, stuck with your double amount of loan, and no one is forgiving it for you. What are you going to do in that? Like, how can you guarantee that the government is going to do something when every time they say they're going to do something, they never do it?
You can never depend on the government for anything. Like, that's the one thing that is consistent that we know, that you can't depend on the government.
So the only person that can guarantee that your loans are going to go away
is you.
You are the only person that will guarantee that your loans are going to go away. And it's so funny because even with banks, I've heard stories about people that use these debt consolidation companies where they negotiate with the banks to reduce your debt. There's some people that 5 years afterwards, the bank comes back and says, hey, we're going through our records and we realize that you owe us money. Maybe something like the company and the bank, they didn't close the deal well. Guess what? It's still in your name. It's not the consolidation company that owes the bank that money. They're going to come back and say, hey, you still owe us money. And if they go to court, they have a say. They're going to win. You're going to pay them their money. So going through all those loopholes and trying to figure out, it's good for you to try to figure out how, like, if you're so
way to pay off your debt.
Under the water and you don't know how to get out, you can do that, but don't let that be your guarantee. Don't go taking out loans thinking that I have a way out, I can do this. The only way out is you pay that loan. It's as simple as that. So I saved this one for the last because it's my favorite one. And it's about credit card rewards and cashback programs. People that say that the first one is my credit card works for me because I get rewards and air miles and cashback programs. And the other people that say that I'm actually using it to build wealth because I'm actually ripping this company off and I'm making money off of this. Those people. Okay. So I actually have all these times we've been talking and it looks like it's almost sentimental. Yeah, most of it is sentimental, but I want to bring up facts now because I don't know, because we have like a debt-free page. I always get all these credit card offers because I don't know, maybe they saw credit on my thing, and now companies are like, I'm always getting like in the ads, I'm always seeing one form of ad another. So I actually started clicking on it to see like, what is this cashback thing that people talk about? Maybe I'm missing out on something. I want to realize. I want to know what this rewards program is. So my current bank sent me one. So it's supposed to be a travel rewards card, and I'm supposed to get a 15,000 bonus points. And then this card, it's no annual fee, which is okay, and the interest rate is 19.99.
Which
not
is
bad.
Average, yeah.
Not bad. But then the thing that they get you are, because you're like, annual fee 0. I get points. Now, this is the part where I sat down and did the math. And this is what I encourage you to do. If you want to be using your credit cards to get points, just do this math. So the rewards level is 1 point equals $1. So each dollar you spend, you get 1 point.
1 point.
And then for 15,000 points, you get a $350 worth flight. That's the maximum you can get with for a local flight within Canada. And then 35,000 points, you get a $750 flight. And that's within Canada and US. And then 45,000 points to get $900 worth in flight. So
you can't even
45,
go to Vancouver.
And this is international now. I think this is international. And then to use your rewards for non-flights, you can redeem 100 points for $1 So, and then you cannot use it. You
spent $1 to get 1 point, but now you have to,
because it's a flight rewards program, so it's geared for flights. But if you want to use it for to redeem your points for say gas or something, it's 100 points for $1.
Okay.
So the thing here that actually drives me insane is, so they want me to spend
30K.
15,000 points is, and let me just talk about the lowest one now. Okay. $350. 15,000 points, which is $15,000 in a year for me to get $350.
You can't even go.
I cannot use this card to pay my bills. So I'm only stuck with my gas, my groceries, and my cash spending, my personal care, and all that stuff. What is my total spend for this year? For my food, I spent $3,390 in 12 months. For my personal care, I spent $2,999, which is approximately $3,000. For my gas, I spent $5,417. So these are all the categories that I can use to earn points. So my total for this year is about $11,000 for my cash spend. So from between what I budgeted and what I spend for my food, I don't always spend what I budgeted. So in this entire year, I've actually saved $1,410 from limiting myself in my food budget. And then for my personal care, it's 2,361. And then for gas, I've only saved 30 because you can't really do much about gas. So I've saved a total of $3,801, which I'm very sure has gone towards my debt. So here's the thing. Because I'm in a rewards program and they always give you tiers, right? So because I'm struggling, I want to get 15,000 points because that's the first tier that you get to. Now, I would have ended up spending the total amount that I had for food because I usually have $100 per week. So because I know I'm trying to rack up my points, I end up spending, because I've told myself I budgeted $100. So in my mind, if I spend $100,
I get 100 points.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything wrong because I budgeted $100. So I'm going to spend $100. So that's okay, right? And that's what people say. I'm only using it for things that I planned for.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm going to spend my $100 and then I'm going to pay it back because this is what I budgeted for. So I'm winning, right? I'm getting my points. So I will end up getting that 15,000 points at the end of the year because I've only used it. So I'm not talking about you buying excess. I'm talking about you only using for what you budgeted for. So because I'm trying to rack up my points, I'm going to end up getting my 15,000 points. And at the end of the year, I get rewarded with a $350 flight. Winning in life, right?
But you haven't made...
But if I had decided that because I have a goal, maybe I'm trying to travel, I know I want to travel at the end of the year, I'm going to start cutting down my budget and trying to save money, which is what I did because I'm trying to pay off debt. I ended up with $3,801. This is not even the highest level point here is 55,000 points, which is $55,000 by the way, which I get to redeem $1,100. I would have done this is equivalent of 3 flights. 3 if I wanted to travel. If traveling is my issue.
If you had decided to save it by yourself to go on a flight, you could have saved $3,000.
$3,000
out of your budget.
This is what I've done from my budget this year. Just deciding that instead of spending $100 this week, I can reduce it to $50. I've done that throughout this year, and I've been able to save $3,800 from just my budget from things that I budgeted alone.
Yeah, so that's equal to the 3 times the flights.
The highest level, which is $55,000 that I would have spent to get to 1,000. So, guys, do the math. I know people are crazy about points. Everyone has a rewards program now. Even my phone company now has a credit card. Because these companies know that this is the only way they're going to make money off of you. This is the only way because they get money off of interest. And some people say, oh, I pay off my balance in full. But look at this math. You're spending more money because now you know you have a rewards point that you're trying to get to. And even when I had the rewards in my when my current credit card, when I had the rewards, I was paying more interest. My points, I couldn't even use it. I couldn't redeem. I'm not talking of the flight one now. With the normal rewards program, I couldn't redeem it I couldn't just go to Food Basics and say I want to redeem my points. It had to be certain stores, and it was like Hudson's Bay, The Source, things that I regularly wouldn't need. So if I say, okay, I'm going to use my points and then use that money to cover maybe groceries for 2 weeks, I can't even do that because I have to go to certain stores. I have to go to certain places and I can't even redeem the whole value. So they'll say, okay, buy this headphone from The Source and use 20 points and that use 2,000 points and that 2,000 points would be $20. I still have to pay the difference. They don't let you redeem the full amount because they're in partnership with all these companies, all these merchants, and that's how they win because this merchant now is advertising, buy this one item and get 20 times the point. So you're like, I don't really need this item, but I'm going to get 20 times the point. So I'm going to get that item. So this is the way that they get you to spend money. There's one I want to show you. I saved screenshots of this thing. Oh my goodness. You're going to like this one, Chite. This one is it just blew my mind. I was like, what in the world? Okay, so this one is American Express.
Okay.
This one is the one that everybody goes for. So this is the reserve card, okay? So when I sign up, they give me a bonus of 50,000 points. And so for me to get this 50,000 points, I have to spend $3,000 in purchases in the first 3 months.
Okay.
This is my grocery money for 1 year. They want me to spend it in 3 months of card membership. So, and when I do that, I receive $200 in gift card if I spend $6,000 in purchases for the first 6 months of having that card. So that bonus, I'm not going to get it unless
You
I
do
spend
all of that in 3 months.
To get the 50,000 points, I spend $3,000 in purchases. And then to get an extra $200, I have to spend another extra $3,000 in purchases. So, okay, that's all right.
So you would get it if you were trying to buy maybe a furniture piece or something.
Something like that. So, and you earn 1.25 miles for every $1 you spend on the card. Now, here's the part that drove me crazy. The annual fee on this card is $899.
$800?
$900. $899 for the annual fee.
What? I've never seen that before.
Fee.
Maybe Canadian ones are cheaper.
This is Canada. This is Canada.
You said American Express.
Yeah, they have American Express in Canada.
Oh.
And then
why am I paying $1,000?
Interest rate is $19.99 for regular purchases, and then $22.99 for
cash advance. $1,000 for me to keep this card. Might as well save that $1,000 for my emergency fund.
1,000. See, I've been traveling, right? All of it. I did like a Europe tour, and I paid less than $1,000 for flight. The flight that I took from here to Paris was $750 or something. The one I did from here to Athens was around that same price. If you just save your freaking money, you're going to be able to afford to travel anywhere you want.
If you save that annual fee that you have to pay to these people, you can go places.
No, with this card, there's so many things. Like you get the lounge service, you get to check in one bag free. How much is a check bag? $30.
$30.
You get all these perks that they try to like get you.
You know what? You can go. You can pay to get into those lounge places, and it's gonna cost you less than this card. I think going into those lounge places, I think it's like $50 or something. It's not that expensive. $50 or $60. You can make it happen with your own money,
guys. Before you get any rewards card, sit down and do your mathematics, because you think you're winning with these people. Like, what I've not even factored in the fact that you can even overspend than your budgeted amount just because you're trying to. And they always send you these emails like I said, okay, this month this thing is on for 20 times the point, so you're going out to go get that thing. They're like, oh, spend $100 more to get to the next year, and now you're just playing this.
You're playing this weird
game.
Yeah.
Of I'm trying to rack up points, and then you're spending way more money than you should. If you sit down and create a budget and you decide that I'm going to create my own reward system out of this, where for every $20 I spend, let me try to save $1 or something. You'll be well.
If you save $100 by the end of the year, you got that $1,200 that you would have spent.
Like, where are you even going to that you need that much money to travel?
Also, you can't even go to Vancouver with this 55, this 35 a year of spending.
Yeah,
like,
and some of them,
they to Vancouver is $1,000. Like, how are you? $700. Where is it taking me? $700 in flights. Where is it taking me? I can't even go to Newfoundland on some off days. Like,
it's ridiculous. And some of the rewards program, you cannot use it in, like I said, there are certain stores that you're restricted to. There are certain seats, and then they said like this busy season. Like the one that my bank gave me, I think they said there's no restrictions, but with some cards, if it's like busy season, like Christmas period, you're not allowed to use your points because they're trying to make money too. Like the airline is trying to make money, so they don't let you redeem your points. There's seat restrictions. You have to travel on certain days. So imagine if you're planning a family trip like for Christmas and they're telling you, oh, you can only use it in October. You're stuck.
You have to switch it to Thanksgiving.
Like people that travel for work, and most people that travel for work, the company ends up giving them a credit card anyways. Like if you have something that maybe your company says, put it on your credit card and we'll reimburse you. I think that for me, might be logical, because you know that it's not your money. It might be
justifiable.
Because you know that, and you're traveling a lot, so obviously you're going to be using your credit card to book flights, and then you're racking up the points. Like to me, that makes sense. But you're just going to get a credit card because you're thinking that I'm going to get rewards and I'm going to end up like getting money out of this. No. if they were losing money out of this, they would not be doing this. And for those that say, "Oh, I pay off my balance every month," all it takes for you is to have one missed payment. One. And they've gotten their money back.
You back. Yeah.
They've gotten, not even that, they've gotten their money back. Even if you pay the next month, that interest that you paid on that $6,000 balance, they've gotten their mony back from that, whatever rewards they gave you. Like, for example, that $200 bonus points that I would have gotten. All it takes is for me to carry a balance of, say, $2,000 for 3 months, and they get their money back.
Yeah. And it's so easy to miss a payment for 3 months.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
Especially when you're saying, "Oh, I have the money, I'm going to pay it off. I'm going to pay it off." And you just end up paying interest for nothing.
Especially if you're waiting for that tax refund. And you spent your money in December and you're like, "I'll get it during tax season refund." That's 4 months that you're carrying a balance that you're going to have to pay interest on.
Oh, man. That's just... Okay, because we've gone way over our time, I'm just going to quickly read the statistics to just blow your mind, because my mind was blown too. So it says Canadians spend $3 trillion on their credit cards every year. This is more than the Chinese and Russian defense budgets combined.
Oh, shucks. And they're winning.
Number 2, the average Canadian who has a credit card balance owes around $8,600. That's 5 times more than the per capita GDP of India. I don't even think this is true, but this is funny.
Which one? How much is the per capita?
8,600.
I can see that.
The average spend for active credit card account is $9,700. That's more than the average annual Chinese salary. Wow.
That's sad. And discouraging at the same time.
Canadians carry approximately 80 billion of credit card debt in total, more than the GDP of Cuba. Canadians make about 3 billion transactions per year on their credit cards, about 5,700 transactions per minute.
Wow. Because people have access to online everywhere.
That's ridiculous. There are about 31 million active credit card accounts in Canada. And this is more than the number of credit-worthy Canadians. So it means like people are getting more than 2 credit cards. Canadians now spend more on their credit cards than they do on their debit cards. Each Canadian makes about 103 transactions on their credit card per year, 8.5 transactions per month, 2 transactions per week. 30% of Canadians surveyed say they don't pay their credit card balance off at the end of every month. That's about 7 billion in interest payments per year. These credit card companies are making a killing. It's the reason why every single person now has a credit card. Victoria's Secrets has a credit card. Like, why do you need credit cards for pennies? Oh my goodness. Like, these popcorn place in the mall, they have a credit card too.
Oh yeah?
It's insane. Everyone has a credit card because they know now that is where the business is. That is where the money is. My phone company has a credit card because they figured that, if they put you on a phone plan, a lot of these companies now, their phone plans are so cheap. So they're not going to make that money for that phone. So they figured if we give them a credit card, they're not going to buy that phone that is at $0. They're going to buy the most expensive iPhone, which is like 1,000 something. And we're going to put them on a payment plan. They're not going to pay off that phone in 1 month. They're going to pay it off in 12, 24 months. And we're going to make money from interest. Ding, ding, ding. When they were sitting there in their office, they're like, this is the plan. This is how we make money. Yeah. Now my phone company is able to offer me half what I pay for my internet and my phone because they know that they don't even need that monthly payment anymore. They have another business, which is the credit card that they're making a killing off of. I rest my case.
Wow.
Keep your money in your pocket. Keep your money in your account and do it the way Mama and Grandma did it. Teachers take money out of their purse and pay for whatever they want and they go home. Life is easier that way.
Yeah.
Because
you don't have to think about it after you've paid for it. That's it.
You're setting yourself up for so much, thinking that you're gonna win. You're not. 7 billion in interest payments. That's one of you. Don't tell me you're not among those people because you are. You're one of these 7 billion. We're not up to 7 billion.
We're
Canadians.
Not. We're fixing things. We're trying not to be part of that statistics, right?
Yeah, that's a very ugly statistics. Very ugly. So do what you can to get out of debt. And my suggestion, what like me, I know myself. I cannot be trusted around a credit card. And I love rewards like the next person. And I will be the type to overspend just so I can get a reward.
Yeah.
So I know myself. I cannot be trusted around plastic. So I just cut it up. I just got rid of it. Like if you know, there's some people that they would swear to themselves that they're using this to create wealth, and you think you can be one of those people, but you're not. You're not. So cut up that thing. Get rid of the credit card. It's not gonna help you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not good. Like I've never been one to chase over points just because I don't know, maybe I'm just different, but it's just like it never made
That's
sense
a whole
to me.
craze now. It's a
Yeah.
they like
Every time
before someone
when I
gets
had a credit card that had points, it was like a $2 per one, whatever. It was a student credit card type thing. And all I spent on like my rewards was movie tickets. Because that was what was more meaningful to me at that time. I just went to the movies.
How much is the movie ticket? It's like $10.
Yeah.
Oh man. And they make you spend $1,000 to get that to get that $10 movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
And then I
guys.
remember my bank calling me and telling me, oh, there's a better credit card for the $1 to one point. And I was like, why should I switch? Like, I'm okay with the credit card that I have right now. Because the 1-to-1 had an annual fee, right? So they were trying to get me to move to the one with the annual fee, selling that the fact that there's better points. Like I'll get more points per dollar versus the card that I currently own that didn't have a minimum balance.
Yeah.
That was a 2-for-1 points. And I was like, listen, I don't even need them points. I only get the points because I had this credit card.
And because it's just there.
And because it's just there. I would rather not pay the annual fee.
Yeah.
And get the less points than have more points and pay this weird annual fee. Because that's not what I'm signing up for. I'm already paying you interest. Why should I pay you an annual fee as well?
That's crazy. It's ridiculous. So, man, before you sign up for that thing, like I said, do your math, crunch your numbers together, see what the rewards they're offering you, the different levels of reward, see how much you have to spend. Even if that number is equivalent to your spend, I would actually challenge you for maybe 6 months to a year. See what you can do from your budget. See how much you can save from your budget. And if you're actually able to, like I did, like I didn't even realize it until I put the numbers together. I saved and this is just only 3 categories of my budget. Like if I put everything together, I would be saving way more money. If you do that, you don't owe anybody anything because people say I pay off my balance, so I don't owe. You owe them. As long as you carry a limit, if your credit limit is $15,000 and you pay off that balance in full, it still shows that you owe $15,000 because that $15,000 is in your name and you can use it at an instant at any time. So anyone that's trying to give you money already factors in the fact that you owe. They don't look at your balance; they look at the full amount, the limit that you have. So put that in mind. Keep that in mind because that $15,000 you can use it within a flash. So, anyways. That's all we have for now. And stay away from the credit cards.
Yep. Stay away from them.
They're the devil. I've said this before.
They are the devil's tool.
Yes.
Yep.
They're not well-building tools. So stay away and we'll see you next time.